Good evening, everyone. It is a beautiful, albeit chilly, evening here in Oxford, Mississippi, as Ole Miss travels to Auburn, Alabama, to take on the Auburn Tigers. I'm John Finnegan.
And I'm George Ruggiero.
And this is the G and Finn Show. We've got a lot of great college football coming up, of course, previewing the Ole Miss-Auburn game. So, George, let's get right into it. What are kind of your what are you watching for this week?
So, as much as I hate to say it, I really don't see this game going Ole Miss's way. Auburn is the spread itself is kind of crazy to me. It's 19.5.
It's a 3-point
that's a 3-touchdown spread.
That's crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong. Ole Miss will be significantly outmatched in this matchup. Auburn's a very good team. Ole Miss has been struggling, but that's a big spread.
Yeah, it's almost kind of incredible. I mean, that being said, the circumstances of the game really do kind of point that way, if you know what I mean.
What makes you say that?
So, Auburn's just now coming home. This is their first home game in a good couple weeks. They had a 3-game road trip, and that included their only 2 losses of the season, at Florida and at LSU. So, you have to think they have to be coming into this game saying, let's right the ship, let's get fired up. Yeah, they had that big win in Arkansas, but they followed that up with a crushing loss in LSU. So, I feel like they'll look at this as a get-right game.
I hear you. So, I mean, right the ship, yeah, they had 2 losses their past 3 games, both on the road, both good teams, but, you don't want to lose to teams like that, especially a cross-divisional game against Florida. That's someone that Auburn considers a real rival. Obviously, LSU, it's SEC West, but tough losses against good teams, yeah, I'm sure they're going to be coming out swinging, trying to prevent another one. For me, kind of the key to this game, Bo Nix. I mean, true freshman, he showed the world what he had in the fourth quarter against Oregon week 1 with an excellent comeback. But when I took a little bit more of a dive, and don't get me wrong, I was a fan of the kid, and I think you were too.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, I wasn't watching Auburn film. I wasn't actively searching out the Auburn game. If it was the best game on, sure, but I wasn't actively watching the guy. I was really only ever seeing him in primetime, and the kid's clutch, but outside of those bigger moments, he's been pretty inconsistent.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where he is a freshman, and he's shown his inexperience. In the games where Auburn's winning, he's crushing it. He's doing a great job, but against the bigger teams, specifically like this past weekend against LSU, I really do think he's going to be a specific player to watch this game because he will specifically be looking to bounce back. Against LSU, which is, he is. This is the biggest team Bo Nix has played against all season. Yeah, Oregon was big, but they're not LSU big, So he's going to be looking to bounce back after that. He had a sub 50% completion rating against LSU. He only had 1 touchdown. He also threw an interception. But that's kind of just his almost MO right now for the season. He's completing around 50% of his passes, and he's picking up a lot of yardage, but he seems a little bit turnover heavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, not awful, but I mean, when you realize it's college, it's a team that's got an excellent defense, they've been staying on the field. The offense has been on the field an awful lot. The defenses they've been going up against, good defenses but tired. You want to see something a little better if you want your freshman to be a difference maker on an Auburn team where the defense has been excellent, and it's been the offense that's they kind of got to start pulling their way to the wagon.
Yeah, no doubt. Thing is with Bo Nix, I do think he'll be a good quarterback. I do think he'll be a good SEC quarterback. There's no doubt about that.
I mean, he's got the name for it.
Certainly. I mean, 5 letters. What's better than that? But he just hasn't shown it to me yet this season. Yeah, he's come in clutch against Oregon, and yeah, he almost got it done against LSU, but almost doesn't count. Sure. I mean, he even almost got it done against Florida. But again, almost doesn't count, especially when this Auburn defense is as good as it is. And this Auburn defense is really, really good.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with you there on Bo Nix. I think he'll develop into the quarterback that we've seen flashes of this season. I don't know if he's there yet. I think it's going to be plenty to take care of the Ole Miss D, and that's for one real reason. Of course, our defense has been much improved over last year. I mean, we're on the top half of the country, in closer to top third, top quarter in a lot of categories.
Yeah.
But the one thing we really struggle with, just pass defense on passing downs. 121st in the country.
Ooh.
Everywhere else, we're top 50%, almost every other category. But when we know they're going to pass and they're not afraid to put 3 guys wide plus a tight end, I think that's where we're going to get lit up. I'm expecting Bo Nix to probably throw a turnover.
I mean,
but I think he's going to be completing an awful lot more than his 54% average on the season. And I expect Auburn's going to take advantage of that. They've got a heck of a rushing attack they can lean on if they have to, but I don't get the impression they're going to have to until they want to start burning out some clock.
and that's the thing. That's what I was thinking. Really, like as another or a more offensive, key to this game is how Auburn's rushing game plays, because they've been leaning on it heavily all season. I mean, that's where they're getting a lot of their yardage.
I mean, why wouldn't you when you've got guys like I may botch this name, but Jatarvius Whitlow, he's got 550 yards on the season. Cam Martin, DJ Williams, both close to 250. Sean Shivers, 200. And Bo Nix has got 200 himself. It's run heavy, it's zone read, it's a Gus Malzahn offense.
Yeah.
But it's going to wear us down enough. That's going to open up their passing attack pretty easily.
And the thing is, it's not to say that they have bad receivers, per se. I mean, Seth Williams has had a great year so far. I mean, he's their primary target. He's got 29 catches for over 500 yards and 8 touchdowns. That's a solid year for a receiver, especially when they're getting the ball thrown to them from a true freshman.
Yeah, and they've got what I'm most worried about isn't their offense. They're going to have a good offense. They're going to score enough points to get the job done, but their defense. Gus Malzahn said a team with this defense is capable of winning championships.
Yeah.
I don't think he's wrong.
He's not.
I mean, I know he's kind of taking a little bit of a subtle shot at his offense there because, I mean, if anyone's not getting the job done, it's their offense. But they're going up against excellent teams. 2 top 10s in the past couple of weeks. In the past 3 weeks, 2 top 10 teams. And those were their losses on the season. But they're allowing, I want to say, between 300 and 350 yards a game. Is that right?
Just about. I think it's like 340, just around that. But that's not much. That's really not a lot.
Especially in the NFL, sure, you can get the job done with that. In college, especially against an Auburn offense that's probably going to be more than enough for this Ole Miss team, it's not going to be enough. What I'm most worried about, though, is their run defense.
Oh.
This Ole Miss team went from an air raid, offense only, no defense, Big 12 feeling kind of team last year. All of a sudden, we've got almost running back by committee. We've got a quarterback who can throw and can run, and we've got a quarterback who can run with the best of them, but is real scared to push it downfield, and for good reason. He's been struggling with it. So I'm really worried about this. I mean, we've got, if they're allowing 106 yards a game on the ground, sure, we'll probably push that average, but that's not going to be enough to get it done. And I don't know how much confidence I have in the Ole Miss quarterback room on pushing the ball downfield, because that's going to be what we have to do.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it will come down to whether Ole Miss's offense can lean more on their passing attack, and I'm just not sure that they can right now. Neither quarterback that's been playing, be that Corral or Plumlee, has really shown me that they can get it done through the air. And thing is, did you see the news earlier in the week about our, quote, third-string quarterback, or should I say former third-string quarterback, Grant Tisdale?
While we're on the subject of quarterbacks, one of our freshman quarterbacks, Grant Tisdale, entered the transfer portal earlier this week. Room was a little bit crowded. It was bound to happen with somebody, but, I mean, you don't love to see it with just 4 games left in the season.
No.
And first reported by E.J. Holland from Rivals, but now our quarterback room's down to a redshirt freshman, Matt Corral, and true freshman, John Rhys Plumlee, and Kincaid Dent.
Both of which are true freshmen, yeah. Kincaid's also.
Is it not Kincaid? My bad.
I think it is. I think it's Kincaid.
So, Tisdale, 4-star out of Allen, Texas, big football town, and that's saying something when we're talking about high school ball and college.
Oh, yeah.
He just appeared in the Alabama game, 2 passes, 56 yards, and a touchdown, and, final drive in garbage time. That was the 5 seconds left from the Alabama 35 or 40.
Yeah, it was far out, but it was good. It
was a great one drive. A lot of reports out of fall practice had him listed as the number 2 guy, but once Corral went down against Cal, it was Plumlee who kind of took it over.
I can't blame the kid. I can't blame him at all for just looking at the situation that he's in and saying, "Hey, the way this offense is running and the way that Rich Rod is running everything, that I'm not sure I'll get my shot."
Yeah, and it's one thing if you've got, say you're playing behind a junior who's going to the draft, or you're playing behind a senior who's going to graduate. if you can say, like, all right, cool, I can build, I can learn behind this guy. If he gets hurt, fantastic, I'll get some playing time earlier than I thought. But when the rest of the room is freshmen too, and guys who may not necessarily have NFL prospects, of course it's way too early to say.
Yeah.
But if you're the third string guy against guys who are going to be in school the same 3 or 4 years you are, especially when we've got another 4-star quarterback, dual threat guy, a Rich Rod kind of quarterback, Robbie Ashford coming, he'll be on campus for 2020. It's, I totally get it. Hey, Grant, best of luck to you, man. We're going to miss you in Oxford, but, I kind of get his choice.
I get it. I mean, that's the thing. All blessings to him. Good luck. Thanks for your time here, but,
And boy, what a drive that was against
Oh,
Alabama.
yeah.
Because
I
you
loved
just
it.
know that Saban chewed an awful lot of
Oh.
Alabama players out after that. It did not matter. I didn't think we were going to score another 4 touchdowns in the last 5 seconds of the game.
No way. But still, I mean...
But that was so much fun for me to watch. I don't think any Ole Miss fan went into that game expecting to win it. But boy, did I enjoy that last drive, just because I know I could have imagined the look on Saban's face.
Oh, yeah. Now, there are a couple other things I think we need to touch on for this game against Auburn, in Auburn. And one of them, I think, is Ole Miss's injury concerns. Now, they had a lot of injuries leading up to the bye week and going into that bye week, which, I mean, that's good. That gave them a lot of time to heal up.
The timing worked out really well.
But at the same time, we haven't gotten many updates about the injured players, other than the fact that Coach Luke said that all the players hurt against A&M or aggravated something against A&M, they should be available for the game at Auburn, but it's a long list of guys. Like, I'm just going to run down like this real quick with the injuries, and some of these I don't see people getting over in just a week. Like Ely, he was out.
I wouldn't expect to see Ely.
No.
Young guy, plenty of depth at the running back position. I wouldn't expect to see him.
Especially when you're out with a concussion.
Yeah,
it wasn't just the flu, turns out. When he took that shot, he was off for concussion concerns. Yeah, that's not good. John Rice with his knee. Supposedly, I mean, I talked to him again this week. I saw him. And he said he's feeling good. He said he's feeling fine and ready to play if need be. But I don't know if I'm Rich Rod, do I rush him back after, like, it wasn't just him getting hurt. He had an actual procedure on his knee,
Yeah, I think, if you're Coach Luke, I'm not sure exactly who on the staff is going to be decision-making for, kind of questionable guys like this. But, if you're in that position, I don't see a reason to rush him back.
Neither do I. And then we've got Ben Brown from the O-line with an ankle, Eli Johnson, turf toe, Michael Howard with his shoulder. Those are 3 important pieces.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the potential to be missing an awful lot. Maybe if guys are feeling better, you got a full week to rest and rehab.
Exactly.
It was a competitive game against A&M with a lot of injuries, but you know what? You get 2 full weeks. You can take a step back. You don't need to travel with the team even during your recovery. You stay at home. You get right. Hopefully these guys don't need another week to be back at 100%. If they do, all right, let them rest. We got, the season's kind of a wash at this point.
Yep.
But
and I think there's only two or three more that 2 more that really I think will be impactful, and that's Scotty Phillips with his knee. Yeah. If that knee's not 100%, I mean, thing is, I'm not as worried with Phillips or Ely, simply because of the depth of this running back group. I mean, Snoop Connor and Woolard, they can get it done, and they've already shown that they can really do some damage.
Yeah, and so can Plumlee. If there's one spot that 2 guys going down isn't going to hurt us too much, or at least as much as it could, especially for a skill position. A lot of teams, they've got their one running back. They've got their guy. Last year, if Scotty Phillips went down...
Oh, no. It was over.
Yeah, that's
over.
That's it. We didn't have a rushing attack anymore. I mean, Tamu could scramble, but we really hoped he didn't have to, especially with the guys we had running downfield. But hopefully our guys are back. Coach Luke did say most of the players hurt for A&M should be available for the game. Wouldn't expect to see all of them. So, Georgia, 19.5 spread. That's a big spread. And I think Ole Miss is going to cover. I don't see us coming away with it. What's your pick? And if Ole Miss was going to win, how was it going to happen?
So, one other thing, and this is really important to me, is who's finally fully healthy for this game after that 2-week break. Jalen Jones. Finally, after that hamstring last year against Texas Tech, we've seen him this year. We've seen him play. But he just hasn't looked himself. The junior, he's played well, almost 30 tackles, 4 tackles for a loss. He's broken up 5 passes.
But you haven't been hearing his name the same amount you were hearing it last season.
But finally, if he's coming out and saying, hey, I'm back, I'm 100%, I'm ready for this, You've got to believe him. Again, I'm with you. I think Auburn's going to win. I think Ole Miss covers 19.5. I think Ole Miss's defense has been very good, bend not break style, and that's worked for them. And I think that'll work for them, like, again, this game. But if Ole Miss is somehow going to pull out, it's got to be on that defense.
Yeah.
It's got to be on the back of that defense, and I think it's going to be on the back of them just pressuring Bo Nix and getting him to force the ball over.
Yeah, and Auburn's O-line, not one of their biggest strengths this year.
not.
It's possible. Don't get us wrong. We've got a lot of injuries, especially at linebacker. That's going to be big against that Auburn running attack. And, I think this game's going to come down to who can run the football better. Because the Auburn Tigers have a heck of a linebacker core and a heck of a defensive line. I mean, Derek Brown, Big Cat Bryan, Marlon Davidson up front. You get to the second level, you got KJ Britt, Jacoby McLean, and Owen Papone. That's going to be...
That defensive line is nasty. It's really good, guys.
And look, Ole Miss rushing attack, second in the SEC, 230-something yards a game,
Yeah, but
18th nationally. But this Auburn defense is on that,
they're locked
if not
down.
past that level.
They're locked down.
So, hey, this isn't a game I would bet Ole Miss to win on. But you know what? It's a 19.5-point spread. It's an SEC West game.
It's such a big spread. I don't like it.
And everybody's going to be running the football off an awful lot. So I think that's all we've got for our preview on the Ole Miss-Auburn game. George, you got anything to add on that?
Not much. No, I think we've covered it all.
So we'll be right back with a little bit around college football, previewing the games coming up this weekend, a little bit of NFL. We'll even get into a little NBA today, but of course we're going to wrap up Nationals winning the World Series in 7 games against the Astros. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back, everybody, to the G and Finn Show. We're going to hop right into some more college football from around the country. And one of the bigger games this weekend that I wanted to really kind of get into a little bit is number 8 Georgia and number 6 Florida playing at a neutral site. What do you think about that game?
I mean, it's the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, so you got to love the name. I mean, it seems like as much of a once-in-a-lifetime experience for those fans as getting to the Grove is for a lot of other fans. I think that's going to be a heck of a game. I mean, rivalry games are always a little weird. SEC East, all of a sudden, real competitive this year. It hadn't been in years past. Georgia came out of what felt like nowhere. What felt like nowhere after losing 45-10 to Ole Miss. That was my first real exposure to the Georgia team.
Yeah, the last couple of years, Georgia's been fantastic.
But all of a sudden, the SEC championship game might be a game. This may well decide who's in it.
It genuinely could.
Jacksonville, Florida at TIAA Bank.
Yeah, it's TIAA. It's where the Jags play.
It's where Gardner Minshew plays and everyone else just watches.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's going to be a great matchup. I don't know if I feel comfortable picking it.
I don't know. I'm only not comfortable with it because the spread is. I don't want to say weird because it is a neutral site game, but Georgia's favored by 6.
Well, what you got to realize, I mean, Florida's ranked 6th, Georgia's ranked 8th. That's just because Georgia had a worse loss.
That's fair. I mean, that being said, also Georgia has one less win. They've played one less game.
Yeah, and you know what? I think Georgia is the better team, but I think Florida's got plenty of the talent. I mean, they're ranked higher than them marginally, yeah. Only because Georgia had a worse loss than the LSU game, yeah. They've got the talent to get it done. That's definitely going to be what I'm watching.
Definitely. The only thing that I'm not so sure about why they, pulled the game the way that they did is the defenses of these two teams are both really good. The only thing is that I feel like Georgia's defense, just based on their points allowed per game and how many yards they're giving up, I think it's a little bit kind of, I don't want to say overrated, but they just really haven't been tested.
Yeah, I don't think they've shown us the team they are yet. Are you going to be a team that's New Year's 6 playoff worthy? For me, a lot of that ranking it feels like poll inertia to me. They started high and they've stayed high for the most part. So I think this will be a great litmus test of which of these teams deserves to be a contender and which one was only ranked as high because they hadn't had the opportunity to lose yet.
Fair.
So I think it's going to be a great game. I mean, top 10 matchup, division matchup, largest outdoor cocktail party. That's going to be a lot of fun, especially if you're a fan. But a couple games real quick last night. West Virginia traveled to Waco, Texas to take on number 12 Baylor. Baylor took them down 17-14. The score was 7-0 at a point in the third quarter.
That's just a weird game, really.
I mean, it's a weird Big 12 game. I mean, it's on a Thursday night on Halloween in Waco, Texas.
Spooky.
It's hard for it not to be a weird game, but something particularly spooky for a ranked Appalachian State team, ranked 20,
They
undefeated, lost to triple option Georgia Southern
Oh, gosh.
at home by just a field goal. Late comeback.
But still,
App State couldn't quite get it done, but
just like a win's a win, a loss is a loss. You know what I mean?
And I feel like a win's a win, but a bad loss is a lot worse than an ugly win. An ugly
Fair
win,
enough.
yeah, you won, but a close loss to an excellent opponent. All right, yeah, let's take that into next week. I mean, heck, Georgia's still ranked 8th in the country, but a
Georgia
real bad loss
Southern?
like this. I mean, look, it's App State. It's a G5 school. It's not like App State taking down Michigan, but Georgia Southern is not a good football team.
No, they've
And-
not been in a while.
But you know what? They're a triple option team. They play big schools all the time. They're used to it. It's not like this is the first time those players had been physically outmatched, coaching outmatched. They're used to it. They like the underdog mentality. They're a triple option team. Stuff gets weird. And it was in the middle of a night on Halloween, in the middle of the week. It
You
was a fun
expect something
game.
weird to happen.
Yeah, I expected App State to keep that streak up pretty much indefinitely, just because I don't know enough about their schedule. But that was a fun game. And actually, Navy travels to Storrs, Connecticut to take on UConn tonight.
Ooh, that could be an interesting one too.
Yeah, I mean,
Neither of those teams are really, strong per se, but I think that could be a good game. So, I know Navy's, run game is incredible.
Yeah, it's-
they just
watching the
ground
service
and pound.
academies, I mean, the service academies, that's the kind of college football I grew up on. My local college football team was Army at West Point. I grew up about half an hour from there. So for me, it's like seeing the service academies play, I mean, I watched Army Air Force games every other year as a kid. I watched Army Navy a couple times. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's definitely unique. I mean, Army Navy weekend's fun.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just, it's unique. It's a completely different brand of college football that's recognizable but still feels different. So, yeah, it could be a fun game. So, midshipmen will travel, I guess they're already there. I mean, they're at Pratt & Whitney Stadium in Storrs. That game starts in about half an hour. But this weekend, one thing I'm really excited about, I'm still toying with the idea of going. It would be a long day, and I've got to figure out how to ride. But
Game day?
College game day.
Game day.
On Beale Street in Memphis, Tennessee,
Oh.
as SMU travels to take on Memphis. First time for Memphis.
First time that game day's in Memphis. I'm glad they chose Beale for it.
Yeah, and
They could have chosen other places, but Beale's the perfect spot for game day, really.
And you know what? A little bit from the kind of college football purists who think everything should always be on campus. Your stadium should be on campus. Your tailgate should be on campus. And, of course, college game day should. At Ole Miss, yeah, we've got the Grove. That's all a given. I mean, you never need to wonder, where's SEC Nation going to set up? You know where they're going to be.
yeah.
But a little bit of controversy from some of the Memphis faithful saying it should have been on Tiger Lane. But you know what? I might be going for Beale Street.
It's Beale Street. Come
And,
on.
You know, I think it's going to be a real fun game to watch. Anytime game day is a G5 game, especially against a real good SMU team and a very good Memphis team. I'm just going to
Definitely.
keep saying Memphis is good until someone calls me out because they beat Ole Miss, so I'm just going to say it.
I mean, you know what their loss is, right? They
Yeah.
lost to Temple.
Listen, man.
It was not a great loss. And thing is, I think this game will be a good game simply because both of these teams. I think both of these teams are kind of in the same boat. They're both good, but neither are really great. Nothing about either of these teams really stands out.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
and
not a Brady White believer. I'm just not.
I haven't seen enough to make a real judgment on him.
Oh, but Gainwell is incredible. I
Yeah, he's-
love Gainwell.
That
He's
kid's
so good
fun to watch. I mean, he gives you a reason to put on the TV when your team's not playing. I watched him last weekend, but
He's nasty.
You know, both ranked teams, G5 matchup, undefeated SMU.
And it's only 7-1.
Game day on
Memphis.
Beale Street. If you're in Oxford or surrounding area and you don't want to make the trip, turn on your TV, make a cup of coffee. It's a tradition, and it's kind of in a little bit of North Mississippi's backyard.
Oh yeah.
Beyond game day, what other games are you watching this week?
I've only really got one other one picked out, and that's number 7 Oregon traveling down to L.A. to play USC in L.A. It's weird to me because USC, they're not very good this year. They're 5-3, but they're 4-1 in conference, and they've always got that one game a year where they just pulling out against a really good opponent.
That they have no right to be competing on the same level as.
Exactly. You would think that game probably came a couple weeks ago against Utah, where they won that 30-23. But even then, and even now, I'm not a huge Utah lover or even believer in that team.
And now a top 10 Utah team now.
Yeah. Well, are they top 10? They were 10 at the time.
I think they're ranked 9 now on AP.
They might be. They very well could be. But that being said, I mean, Oregon's 7. And what's weird about this game is the spread is only 4.5.
Yeah, 4.5 for number 7 versus an unranked team. I mean, yeah, Oregon's playing on the road, but still. I mean, USC has not been the blue blood that everyone expects them to be, not in the past few years since Sam Darnold left.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Herbert's great. Justin Herbert has had a great season, 21 touchdowns, only 1 pick. But there's, like I said, it's that weird feeling that you get when you play in LA against USC. It might just be that game. You know what I mean? They have that one game a year.
You just got that kind of feeling about it?
I've got a weird feeling about it. I don't know.
And I'm not seeing anything else that's excited me too much this weekend.
No,
Virginia,
not
North
really.
Carolina could be fun if you're an ACC fan.
I feel like that's going to be, I don't know, very defensive, I think, because Virginia's defense has been pretty solid all season.
Which is not a sentence I ever thought we'd be able to say.
No.
At least not after the past few years of Virginia
I
football.
mean, well, unless we're talking about basketball.
Yeah.
Virginia's basketball team is, whew, they're something else.
And you know what? I'm real excited for Ole Miss basketball tip-off. I think Kermit Davis, he's getting his guys in. Another year for the guys to learn his system, his 1-3-1 kind of thing he loves. I'm excited for that. But, I mean, that's all I got on college football today.
Me too.
Watch game day. Watch your team. If it's Ole Miss, awesome. You might be disappointed,
not,
but watch the game. If it's not,
Watch Memphis.
good
I
for
guess.
you,
Yeah.
honestly. And you know what? You're saving a lot of money on blood pressure medication, I promise
Yeah,
you.
there's that.
But in the NFL this week, last night,
What do you think about that game? Because that was something.
you know what? Those Cardinals unis are real tight.
Oh, they're nice.
State Farm
they're-
Stadium,
They're slick.
a lot of fun, great tailgate, great atmosphere, great amenities. The Bud Knight's got a spot there, and you know they got a nice they got a really nice outdoor grassy area. Almost reminded me of the Grove, which was great in the middle of December when they lost 10-3 to the Detroit Lions, and everyone was cheering for it so they could get Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
But any games to watch this weekend?
I mean, of course, if you like just the early morning game, we've got Houston and Jacksonville playing at Wembley in London. That's an 8:30 kickoff Central Time.
That could be a half-decent game.
That actually could be a good game because both of those teams have been playing well of late.
What do
you
we know about Allen and his capacity for jet lag? It might come down to him.
So
Yeah, we'll see.
we'll see. Yeah,
I think one game that could be pretty exciting. I'm thinking Vikings at Chiefs.
Ooh,
That could be fun.
Yeah,
The
that could
Vikings-
be a lot of fun. Minnesota's been playing great, especially that run game.
They've
that
shown
run
up.
Game's been about it. It's been good.
Yeah, and you know what? Do you expect Mahomes to play? He's officially listed as questionable.
I do. I really think I do. I mean, he tried to play last week after that dislocated kneecap. He genuinely tried to play last week, and he got shut down by Coach Andy Reid. I think if he has anything to say about it, he plays. But I think this Kansas City team, either way, they don't have much to worry about when it comes to making the playoffs. Their division has just not been good this year, apart from them. But this is a tough Minnesota team with or without Mahomes on the field.
Yeah, that's fair to say. And you know what? If you want to see who's really awful in the NFL this year, Jets travel to Miami to take on the
no.
Dolphins, where they got their coach Adam Gase from. That's going to get somebody fired.
It's not that it will. I think it should, is my thing. I genuinely believe it should get someone fired. Especially, my thing is, I could honestly see Miami winning this game. As horrible as they are,
So could I.
With all the turmoil in that building in New York or New Jersey after the trade deadline this week, I don't even know if this is a cohesive team anymore.
I don't know if it is either. And Adam Gase, formerly Miami coach, 23 and 25 there, picked up by the Jets because Peyton Manning promised he was a quarterback whisperer. Hasn't shown them what they had. Jets
Don't know
offense
about
came
that.
out anemic, supposed to be an offensive guru. And I know you and I could talk about the Jets for days, but if you didn't catch it, a couple star players were
Quote shop.
being shopped. Turns out GM Joe Douglas taking calls on them, not actively shopping the guys, not making calls, but hearing them out. Some younger players took offense to it. Others took it a little bit more in stride.
Jamal Adams.
Yeah, some took it a little bit more in stride, but I think Adam Gase has lost the locker room already. I wouldn't be surprised to see Miami notch his first win of the season here.
Neither would I. And you almost have to feel for Douglas because he's just doing it literally as a GM on trade deadline day. That's his job. His job is to field whoever calls.
He's doing his due diligence. All right, you know what? You
I can't blame
you field
him.
calls for Tom Brady if someone offers you 9 first. That being said, I think Pat's Ravens could be competitive.
It
I'm
definitely
not saying
could
it
be.
will, but it's got the potential.
I mean, it's in Baltimore. Baltimore's run game has been awesome all season.
Yeah. And if you want to watch Monday night game, Cowboys at Giants, of course it's an NFC East game. What else would it be on Monday night? We'll preview that a little bit more next week. And if you want to watch a very easily stoppable force meet an immovable object, Redskins travel to Buffalo to take on the Bills at New Era Field. I think that's kind of all I've got on the NFL. You got anything more on there?
The only thing else I've got really for the NFL is the Seahawks. You have to remember, I mean, today.
Josh Gordon hit waivers, announced at 4 o'clock. He's going to be a Seahawk.
I don't know how he fell that far in the waiver wire.
You know, I think the fact that he was falling, there must be something going on. You know, if you can't succeed with substance abuse issues in the Patriots system in Boston, I mean, I'm glad he didn't go to Miami just for the guy's own health. But I mean, he fell all the way to the Seahawks, and they got a heck of a quarterback. Now they've got some fantastic receivers. Now they got Josh Gordon, Tyler Lockett, who's got some of the best chemistry with his quarterback of anyone I've seen on the level of Edelman and Brady.
I was about to say, that's top two for me, Edelman, Brady, and then Lockett, Wilson.
And I think they're in the same tier, and I don't know if anyone else is.
No,
and of course,
I don't think so.
Our boy DK Metcalf. So, you know, that could be a big boost to the Seattle offense. Can their defense step up? They don't have the Legion of Boom anymore.
And the thing is that it's weird that defense isn't playing well.
Especially
after, well, it's playing okay. I mean,
you expect more.
I do expect more, especially after they go out and pick up Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah.
And,
and kind of mortgaged a little bit just on that. So that's all we got on football for this week. We'll be right back. A little bit World Series, a little bit of basketball preview. Welcome back to the G and Finn Show. I think we're going to get right into it with a little bit of MLB.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to.
Game 7 in Houston. Nationals take
it's over.
It.
Baseball season's over. It makes me sad. I love baseball so much. But at the same time, what an incredible World Series this was.
Yeah,
for it to just be so back and forth and back and forth. I mean, shoot. Once the series got 3-2, with Houston going home,
we both gave it back to Houston.
I did.
We flip-flopped every time.
I wrote off the Nats.
Yeah, we flipped. You know, I thought Houston was going to take it all season long. The Nats got out early. I'm like, oh, man, maybe the Nats will. Houston came back. I'm like, oh, maybe the Stros will. I had no idea what was going on. If you listen to this show for betting advice, please don't.
Please don't. No, we're not great at this part. But
go to Gamblers Anonymous. It's better than this.
But at the same time, this has never happened before. It's unprecedented for the away team to win every single game and win a World Series.
I mean, if you listen to Take Me Out to the Ball Game, every game in the World Series was a shame.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think I forget what the number was, but tens of thousands of people bought tickets to see their team in the World Series in their city. Yeah. Every single one of them went home disappointed.
Yes, like to the point to where people in the Houston area didn't even watch Game 7. Like, this Game 7 was, if I'm not mistaken, I saw it, I think it was on Bleacher Report, that this was one of the lowest rated Game 7s in MLB history.
And that's surprising to me.
I mean, of course, they always kind of add a little bit, like if the home crowd is actually watching at home instead of having to be at the game, they give you a little extra or whatever. But people just weren't watching because I think that people just didn't know what was going to happen, or they expected the Nats to win.
Yeah, and you know what? DC's a big media market, and you know those fans kind of came out of the woodwork, but they showed up. And you know, we talked about this going into the playoffs. You talk about the hot hand a lot. I was looking a lot more at the team's records through the season, and you know what? This year, the hot hand won over talent.
Yeah, definitely.
Houston's a more talented baseball team. They won an awful lot more games. The Nats lost to the Mets like 12 times.
Yeah.
And then they won the World Series.
They were 19-31 at one point.
They were 19-31, and they just beat a team in the World Series that had 106 wins. That's insane. You know what? Good for the Nats, good for DC, and some more good baseball news. Pitchers and catchers report in 103 days.
Nice. I'm ready. I'm already ready.
Start your countdowns. And I think you had something out of Citi Field in New York you wanted to talk a bit about.
Oh, yes. The Mets have a new manager, Mickey Callaway, out of there.
For good reason.
For good reason. Well, I don't think he was put in the best spot, but that's just me.
For a reason.
For a reason. He was fired for a reason. Brody Van Wagenen being not a GM. Carlos Beltran is the new manager of the New York Mets.
I did not believe that headline when I first saw it.
I'll be honest, neither
I thought it
did
was.
I.
I thought it was The Onion. I swear.
No, that's real.
And I came into the show and George was like, "Did you see?" I'm like, "There's no way that was real." But you know what? I think he might do a decent job.
I don't think he'll be bad, for sure. I mean, this is his first managing job, but at the same time, he knows what it takes. He's been through the ringer of plenty of MLB seasons.
And he seems like a Mets guy, you know?
Yeah,
He's just a Mets
definitely does.
guy. And one kind of underrated aspect of, I don't want to say his skill set, but his repertoire, 100% bilingual. That's big for a manager.
Oh, definitely.
I mean,
100%.
a lot of
That's-
a lot of Hispanic players on MLB teams. You want to be able to communicate with your guys.
I mean, even the Mets.
Yeah,
Like Cespedes, well, is he even on the roster? I mean, I think he might be hanging out on his ranch most of the time, but still.
Yeah, I'd be if
he
I were
is
in his
there.
spot, but he's there. And, real quick, after the World Series, the Stros kind of, I don't want to say bet the house on it, but they did a lot to make a push this year.
Yeah.
What do you think's going to change?
This is tough for this Houston team because the thing is, they have such a good mix of veteran talent and rookies. I mean, we saw what Jordan Alvarez was doing. He was fantastic all season from a rookie. Yeah. But at the same time, Garrett Cole's a free agent. The veteran core of this team is just a whole nother year older, especially like Verlander and Greinke. You just don't know what this team is going to be able to throw back together. But I'm not sure much changes. I still think they have a very talented lineup and a very talented team.
I think they'll regress to a slightly worse one seed in the playoffs.
Definitely.
I think that's where Houston's at. And, we don't have too much time left, but, George, you got any quick NBA news?
Yeah, the one big thing for the NBA that was reported recently is the fact that Steph Curry is now out after his broken hand, he got his procedure done. He'll be out for about 3 months. My big question with this is how do the Warriors respond? He's the leader of this team. He was pretty much, the best player left on that team, especially after Klay Thompson got injured last season in the playoffs and KD left. So you have to wonder how they respond. They're off to a slow start in the year. Pretty much their main talent left is D'Lo, and then they've got Draymond Green. What do you think on that?
I mean, you say, how do the Warriors respond? How can they respond? Do you think they have... Do you think they can overcome such a setback? Because I'm not a massive basketball fan, but just looking at what they lost, I don't see a path for them to come back and perform even close to what they expected out of this season.
I don't know. Can they? Sure. Steve Kerr's a great coach, or a good coach, I would say. I don't know about great yet, but he's definitely a good coach. You have to look at the depth of this team, and it's just not there.
Yeah. And that's what happens when you get a sport where you've got 5 guys.
Yeah.
And a few backups. It's not like you can lose a middle linebacker. That's fine. But you lose your all-star point guard. That makes an incredible – I mean, you got 20% of your starters down immediately. So I think it's going to be a big test for the management and the coaching. Is it their players keeping them there and keeping them in a job and keeping that team good? Or are they really bringing something to the table? I think we'll find out over the course of the next 70-something games.
We've got to. Yeah.
So I think that's all we got for this week, George.
Definitely.
So we're followed up by Barker and Bennett's Rock Hour, but we'll be right back here Monday at noon. But until next week, I've been John Finnegan.
And I've been George Giro.
And this has been the G and Finn Show on 92.1 Rebel Radio.